There's Trump by becoming rich.
Take all your money, buy Bitcoin.
You can wake up every morning and say GM.
GM. Sunday, 3rd of November. Daily levels. First, huge, massive, enormous. Can't think of enough superlatives for the crossover stream today. So it's at 7 p.m, slightly later than the regular stream I would do. 7 p.m. UTC. Me and Professor Ayush from the Stocks campus. This is going to be a banger. Biggest stream of the year, pre-election, and then we're going to have a post-election one as well. So, what's happening with Bitcoin? This is pretty basic. It's just unwinding some of the Trump trade, and you can see how Bitcoin's price moves along with Trump odds. Here, found it. The correlation between Trump odds and BTC, very clear. And of course, Trump odds have nuked over the weekend from all the way at the high of 67 on Polymarket, all the way down to 53. And Bitcoin's price hadn't been following fully. It had sort of, held up. And then Bitcoin's price has dropped down a little bit to 68, just below 68 today. And so, look, it's really simple. Trump's odds should never have been 67. So everyone's freaking out over mean reversion, which is hilarious. It's literally, and look, you cannot allow yourself to be biased as a trader. Whenever Trump's odds were like in the 40s, not that long ago, if we go on like not even a month, they'd have to look on this, right? Trump's odds were as low as, when as low as 50, 48, 47, probably hit a low of about 47 back in September, 46.8, right around the FOMC when the Fed cut rates, literally the day of it. That's when Harris had her peak. That's when Trump was at his lowest. And I remember at the time, people said, this is not realistic. Polymarket is biased against Trump. Just think about that. People were saying that Polymarket, this crypto betting market, was biased against Trump. And I saw people saying, why? Like, why would he be biased against Trump? And they said, Kamala Harris is spending her campaign funds on this, or it's tech, and tech always leans to the left. Fucking nonsense. And then, hilariously, whenever Trump's odds went way up, or started to just increase, just about a couple of weeks later, when Trump was at 54 and Harris at 44, people on the other side were saying, yeah, but Polymarket is right-leaning. Polymarket's not representative. Polymarket's just people betting. Polymarket is not truly an accurate representation of Trump's odds. You need to listen to the polls, and the polls say it's 50-50, which is true. But you can see how if you're just fucking biased and siloed in your own echo chamber where all you can see is your right-wing stuff or left-wing stuff, you're going to make terrible fucking decisions and have terrible takes. And these are all terrible takes. The only correct take about betting markets is that and you should know this as a trader, the only thing that would matter for a betting market would be supply and demand. Flows. That's it. And I showed this a few weeks ago. Some whale put 25 million on Trump and skewed his odds massively. People then took that to mean, and it's actually a perfect example of reflexivity. If you've heard about reflexivity from me, or from not from me. I've talked about it in the past, but I haven't done a lesson or anything on it. But it's the tendency for the price of something to actually impact the fundamentals. So when prices go up, people expect prices to keep going up. When prices go down, people expect prices to keep going down. And it can be a self-fulfilling prophecy. But where people used to think that fundamentals determine the price, reflexivity would say that the price itself can actually affect the fundamentals. And this happened. You've seen reflexivity happen in real time in this election cycle. Because some guy was betting, and he's French, they know loads about him. Some French guy was betting heavily on Trump, to where his odds went. I think the actual buying of this guy brought Trump's odds to about the low 60s, like 60, 61. And then momentum took over, and further betting came in on Trump. Do you know what this is? Again, right, let me 1 month this. This is just fucking people buying the top. That's all it is. It's a betting market. There is not one poll anywhere, right? And polls are fucking nonsense too. Like, none of this shit is great. It's not like anything's really that useful or that reliable. But let's just pick out one of these polls and look at, like, a month ago. Harris 48, Trump 45. Right? At no point has Trump even been in the lead here. Okay? Where's the Electoral College one, or is that it? I don't know. Maybe that's it. So that poll has Harris in the lead all the way. Okay? You can talk about polls being biased. They are, absolutely. But even a right-leaning biased poll, would have Trump maybe 50, 52, maybe Harris 48, maybe Trump 50, Harris 50. At no point ever, not even for 1 microsecond, was Trump a 70% favourite or 67 in the polls. That's because you can't manipulate polls with money, with just supply and demand, with just buying and selling pressure. You can manipulate polls in other ways, but what you can't do is come in as one person and just move the market of all the polls of all the separate polling companies. You can do that with a financial market. So when you see Bitcoin, if you saw Bitcoin go from 50k to 60k in 2 weeks and then go back to 54k, as a trader, what would you say? Oh, mean reversion. Yes, it's pulled back. It went from 50 to 60 really fast. It's pulled back from 60 down to 54 or 53 or 52. Yeah. Because at 50, Bitcoin was maybe a little bit oversold, and then it started rising, got to 55, momentum took over, got to 60. 60 was too expensive, 60 was too high, 60 was too overbought in the short term. Wouldn't want to be buying 60 when it was at 50 a week ago. Seems a bit of froth, seems a bit of FOMO. Maybe it's just a perp leverage-driven move. Maybe it's too many people FOMOing in at the top, and it pulls back. And what happens? The people who bought Bitcoin at 60 get flushed out. It goes down to 54, 53, or 52, and then it finds equilibrium again. So when it's a market like Bitcoin, you understand this intuitively, right? If you've learned about supply, demand, market structure, etc. Like when Bitcoin went from 52 to 66 and back to 58. And then it went higher. Anything wrong here? Anything like that's breaking the laws of physics? No, that's how fucking markets move. So why would it be any different with a betting market, financial market with $2.5 billion of volume traded? Why would it be different? French guy bought all this up, most of it. Momentum took over. Retards started buying Trump at 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, paying an insane premium to bet on something that is a 50-50. They are basically taking a 50-50 coin toss and giving somebody 1/3, 2/3 odds. Instead of 50-50, it's 1/3, 2/3. And somebody was stupid enough to take that. So playing off of the hype, playing off of people's emotions and their biases, i.e. they want Trump to win and they think landslide. And by the way, it topped whenever he went on Joe Rogan, which I had speculated that might be the case because he reaches peak normie attention at that point. So all this is, dumb people have bought Trump at 67% and smart people have bought Harris at 33%. Because they're not fucking biased, even if they want. And I want Trump to win, obviously. I mean, of course. If Harris wins, it's going to be gay. If Trump wins, it's going to be great. Well, better. I still don't think anybody's really going to do anything to help you. So you still have to sort out your own life. But clearly, Trump would be a better candidate. But you can't allow your bias to affect you when you're making financial fucking decisions. Right? Just like you can't allow yourself to FOMO into Bitcoin at 73k just because it's going up and looks good. Every chart looks good when it goes up. Every chart looks bad when it goes down. That's the first thing you need to get out of your head. Every chart looks good when it goes up. Every chart looks bad when it goes down. So if it was as simple as doing what the chart looks like, you would make trillions of dollars very easily. And if it was as simple as saying, oh my God, a betting market that can be manipulated by anyone and that is not driven by actual reality, it's driven by people who bet. Do you think a betting market is representative of the US electorate? Number one, Polymarket is banned in America. It's crypto. You can't use it. So Polymarket's not even available in America. Americans can't use it. So the people who actually can vote in the election can't use it. And number two, even if it was available in America, it's available to people who bet. Financial specialists, gamblers, speculators, risk takers, people who like to have a flutter on an event. Heavily skewed towards men, clearly. Men are more risk-taking. Men are much higher represented in Wall Street, in finance, in trading, and in gambling. And it's nothing to do with gender differences in terms of like fucking whatever, like holding women back from having jobs. No. It's just a fact. Because people can, and you can search this yourself. It's super easy to fucking do a little bit of research. Everybody can trade by themselves. You're all here, you can trade by yourself, right? Men and women can equally open a Binance account or a stock portfolio or whatever. And so anything to do with betting or speculation is vastly overrepresented with men. Just more risk-taking by nature. Men skew more towards Trump. This is super obvious, right? Women are skewing towards Harris, men are skewing towards Trump. So you've got a market that skews towards Trump in its gender. You've got a market that is not available in America, where the fucking election's happening. And people think that the market, which moves based on buying and selling and flows, so open interest and buying and selling pressure, is going to somehow be representative of the actual probability of said person winning the election. And then you get the most mid-curve take ever, which is that markets are always right. No, they're not. Markets are not always right. Otherwise, none of you would be here. I wouldn't be here. We wouldn't make money trading. Markets have to be wrong. That creates an inefficiency. We exploit inefficiencies, like Trump's odds being too high, Harris odds being too low. That's an inefficiency. If it's a 50-50 race with every single poll, right, aggregate of US polls. Like, everyone knows this, right? But, I mean, where do I get that? I just want fucking one website that shows all of them. But anyway. Fuck off, I'm not subscribing. Days without rant 0. I want the overall election. Not Iowa. Fucking just give me the overall. So such bad. I mean, just give me. Here we go. National polls. So this is all of the national polls from fucking Forbes to Fox and CNBC, Wall Street Journal, and so on and so on and so on. Some of these lean left. Most of them lean left. Some of them lean right. Let's see. Trump ahead by 0.3. Trump ahead by 2. Tie. Harris ahead by 2. Trump ahead by 2. Harris 3. 1. 1. Tie. 3. 2. 1. 2. Okay? Overall, 48. 48. It is absolutely fucking coin toss. Cool. So this should be 50-50. And it's still in Trump's favor. Why is everybody freaking out? Now the people on the right who were out there sharing the fucking... And Elon Musk was doing this. Like, I mean, he's fucking as bad as anyone. He was sharing poly market odds, being like, it has to go to 69.42 for the meme. As if that's not the most fucking played out meme ever. And so, what does this all mean? What does it mean for your bags? What does it mean for my bags? What does it mean for our big fucking stacks of Bitcoin that are seeing their notional value decrease because of some nonsense? Well, two really simple things, and I'll deep dive this on Weekly Outlook today. Will it be today? Maybe. We've got the crossover stream. Weekly Outlook will either be today or I'll upload it separate tomorrow. It won't be live because I'm live with Ayush. Two things. Bitcoin is still holding its 1221 EMAs. Okay, so the EMA bands are holding. If you're on the weekend workshop yesterday, which you must check out before it disappears, weekend workshop, it's in the daily streams section, which you'll find over here. We did advanced market structure part 2. I talked about this, your top-down analysis. How does Bitcoin look from a top-down basis? It has bullish internal weekly structure. It has bullish weekly structure. So even if you go back to the most recent interim low for Bitcoin, it never closed below it. It wicked into it, did not close below it, no structure break even there. Never mind the swing low, which is there. So bullish weekly structure, bullish monthly structure, bullish internal weekly structure, which is here. A low into a high, into a higher low, into a higher high. Forget the wick. Look at the candle closes. It's still a bullish internal weekly structure. That doesn't mean that you buy it and it goes to the moon today. It's a weekly chart. And on the daily, same thing. Bullish daily structure until this level breaks for taking candle closes. So I've drawn a box around the daily down candle, the last daily red candle before this break of structure. That's known as an order block before the BOS. That's where you'd expect price to hold, a little bit like this, the way everybody's freaking out when it just did the same thing over here. The daily low that led to this break of structure ended up getting retested and holding on a pullback. It doesn't mean this one definitely will hold. I definitely see some weakness here. Like losing that level in the nature of how it has would actually lead me towards a higher probability of a lower high. So with this type of structure and how it is unwound, I would typically expect it to go into a lower high and then actually go down. But it could just go to new highs and be bullish because it's a bull market and it's a rising market and you wait for higher highs and higher lows to form. Regardless, as long as this area is holding, and I would now class that as today's low is the lowest it should go, unless you get a quick sweep on Monday open. I've talked about this in the past, how weekend lows are unreliable. Right, a low that gets set on the weekend is unreliable. And so if you saw it close right here, you might see a sweep on Monday morning, but I would expect nothing more than a sweep. If this is going to hold and produce a rally up, going into the election, or going into Tuesday, then you'll see it from somewhere around here. It is also into daily support. It should not break this daily structure, but it can go all the way into here, and it can even wick below that and hold there. If all that happens, right, and we spend the rest of fucking November doing this, chop, 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 and then we move up. If this happens, you're going to look back at this, I'm going to look back at this, everyone's going to look back at this, when it's over here, and they'll be like, what will people be saying? The ones freaking out now, they'll be saying, this is the best chart I've ever seen. Because why? Because it's gone up again. It's just tale as old as time, right? Best chart you've ever seen. Oh God, be careful. Best chart you've ever seen. Oh God, be careful. Best chart literally the world has ever created. Oh my God, be careful. Do you now see? Now is not the time to be saying be careful. I was saying be careful here. I was telling you, at least for me, it seems like it's too soon, that I would expect that we don't break out on this push. And we didn't. So now, I'm not saying be careful. It's already said. Now you're looking for opportunity. That does not mean you go long, because there's not really a setup yet, right? That's a daily chart. This is a 1 hour chart. Unfortunately, right now, there is no 1 hour reversal. You could have the earliest sign, which would be this. If we come up to here and it flips the bands to green, that's the earliest possible sign you could have. Because while it's not a market structure break, which happens there, when it reclaims the high that led to the low, it would be a BOS. Because it goes down, it consolidates, and then it makes a new high. So you would have internal structure, low, high, higher low, higher high. Because that doesn't have a market structure break, I would combine that with the bands going green. So if I see the 1 hour bands going green and prices up here, I would call that a highly probable local bottom, which would essentially mean that you've done the nice little trap here. So you've trapped people over the weekend below the lows, and likely that begins the rally into the election. And then I think it would go sideways, and it would wait, and it would depend on whether Trump wins about how far the pump goes. Because remember, this rally was driven, a lot of it, by positive sentiment around Trump. So then, if it's going to rally, and maybe it doesn't even get this high going into the election, but Tuesday's going to be a big one. I'm going to be streaming like basically all night for the election, because as it tosses and turns, you'll see lots of volatility around Bitcoin within this range. So my current view is that, and we'll see how this goes later, but my current view is that this is probably slightly oversold now in the short term, and anything up here will be slightly overbought, right? So if we reclaim this level going into Monday, I think that's perfect. We should be somewhere around 70, in my opinion. Then, as the swings happen, as Harris wins a state, you might see it drop a little bit. As Trump wins a state, you might see it rise a little bit. Now, swing states, not like if she wins New York, that doesn't fucking matter. But as it tosses and turns, you'll see this fluctuate a little bit. And then whoever wins, I think, determines where the price goes at that point, if it's here. Harris wins, we go down. Trump wins, we go up. That does not mean we go up forever or down forever. That would be the initial move I'd expect. So we'll see how that goes. The main fucking takeaway of this, don't freak out about the betting odds, because the betting odds are not real anyway. They never were. And I said this when it was at 67. It needs to come back down. It will converge towards the election, because people are not going to keep betting on Trump at terrible odds. Why would you bet on a coin toss at a 66% and a 33%? Why would you bet on a coin toss at that? All the polls say, even the right wing, left wing, they all say it's a 50-50. So people are not going to pay 66 for Trump when they're only returning 50. Now, that's it. GM. Rant done.